Now, the fifth and final piece for creating your content that I come up with, I'm sure there's lots more, but by sticking with these 5 different strategies for creating your content, you're going to be able to connect with your ideal target market and position yourself in such a way that you're not going to come across as salesy or pushy when you're delivering your offer. Now, the fifth and final one is interviews. So conducting interviews of experts in your industry or your field is a great way to create content, and it also positions you as the expert or the authority by borrowing from the credibility of the people or the authority of the people who already have influence or authority in that marketplace or that space. Now, these interviews may also be about some transformational journeys from some of your clients. Now, don't mistake that as endorsements. These are really, endorsements are what people commonly call testimonials, where, oh, you should use Sally's haircutting service. Sally's the best. I went to Sally and she just made me look so beautiful, and where it's all about Sally, the business. But really what you want is, in a good testimonial, what you want to do is you want to just be a single piece of that person's story. So you're just like one key ingredient to the story that caused the change or the transformation in that person's life. So the interview or the story is about their challenges, where they were, the struggles that they've had, the struggles that they face with respect to the product, service, or the problems that they had, and then they were searching for a solution. They came across your solution, and by implementing it into their life or their business or whatever, things changed dramatically to the point where they are starting to live the life they've always dreamed. So it's basically the story, their transformation story, but you're just one piece, but you're one vital piece of that transformation story. So using those types of testimonials, those transformation stories of clients, can be very impactful. 1, for creating content, 2, for elevating your authority, and 3, for I don't know what 3 is. I was on a roll with 1, 2, and there's like, oh, there's got to be a third one. But so for elevating your authority, for creating content, for establishing you as the expert, and basically being a vital piece in the person's journey or the person's transformation, because a lot of your potential clients or potential avatars will see that video and it's like, I'm just like that person in the video. Now, if that person hired Winnie to help her, I'm probably thinking that if I hired Winnie, she would help me too. So you just want to be the vital piece of their journey and show how you've helped them. So from those 5 different strategies, shouldn't be hard at all to come up with 1 hour of content per week for a period of at least 15 weeks. So but spend the time up front to map it out, what it is you want to talk about, and think about the big picture of your ideal target market's desired outcome. So you're laying out this content blueprint, and think about their desired outcome, and constantly talk about the outcome, the benefits in your content, to keep planting the seeds, so that when the time comes and you're putting in the offer, or you're going to do your offer, your pitch, it's less pushy, it's less salesy, because you've been planting the seeds all along, and then you just constantly get the harvest. You constantly get the harvest. Okay, so that is about creating content. So here's one of the 7 key components on how you can deliver on accelerating your authority in only 15 hours. Now, this component is one of the main reasons why I talked about in the previous component, creating video for your content as opposed to some other medium. Because from the video, you can repurpose it in so many different ways and take advantage of that 1 hour. So if you're doing 1 hour a week, you can take advantage of that 1 hour by repurposing the video in so many different ways. I'm going to get into many of those ways here very shortly. So if you were to spend the time to create each piece of content separately that I'm going to discuss, then you would spend all your time on content and very little time where it matters the most, which is on distributing the content and engaging with your audience, your prospects. So for repurposing your content, you're going to want to reach out and hire some key outsourcers that can help you with this aspect of your business, because this is a very time-consuming and it's a very task-oriented aspect of your business. So these are things that you can outsource to other people and have them do this for you, because you want to focus your time on the creating the 1 hour of creating the content, and spend your time on the engagement piece. So the repurposing of your content is not where you want to spend the most amount of your time. So this is the area that you actually want to outsource. So here's how I break it down. So remember, we started with that 1 hour of content. So last week you created that 1 hour of content. So here's how it breaks down. So you send that 1 hour of content, whether it be 1 full hour or 15 minutes. I'm just going to call it 1 hour total. So you send that video content and you send it out to be transcribed. So you need to find a good transcriptionist. It's crucial to have a good transcriptionist where, because this is the basis of a lot of the repurposed content is going to come from the transcription of the video. Now you can generally hire outsourcers on many of the different outsourcing sites that will transcribe the content and get it back to you, in a timely fashion, and it's done very well. So you can find those outsourcers on a variety of different outsourcing sites. So you want to find one and you want to work with them on a consistent basis. Maybe you make a deal with them. Say, I'm going to provide you with X number of minutes of content every single week. What kind of deal can you give me? And generally you can negotiate a good deal. I actually did that to find one of my outsourcers. I basically had 5 or 6 different outsourcers quoting me on the amount of content that I was going to deliver. Now the second thing is you're going to want to find a video editor who can artfully cut, edit, and put together great works from the video that you created. Remember, you get that 1 hour of content. Now you're going to want to either chop up that 1 hour of content, or it may need to be edited. So the video itself can be turned into a video podcast. So you're going to want to turn it into a video podcast. So if you're doing, that's why it's, having video that's at least 15 minutes in length, or, definitely preferred. It's podcast. You want to keep it, anywhere from 15 minutes to 60 minutes, somewhere around there is a good amount of time for a podcast. So if you're doing 4 15-minute videos, then basically you can turn those into 4 different podcasts. Or if you're doing one hour video like I am, I'm just going to turn that into 1 podcast. So it's not going to be an hour long, because we're going to edit out pieces. We're going to put it together, make it sort of fine tune it a little bit. So you're going to get your video editor to take your 1 hour video content and cut it up and turn it into a video podcast. So that's the second type of repurposing. Now the third type of repurposing is that video can be cut into smaller segments or clips that can be used to drive home a point. Now, as I talked about in this specific 1 hour segment that I'm doing right now, actually it's going to be over 1 hour, I'm actually talking about 7 components of the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. So I'm actually going to cut this up. So there's going to be 7 specific clips where I talk about each component separately. So my videographer is going to take this, he's going to chop it up. So all I did was I delivered the 1 hour, and I'm sending it to these outsourcers, and they're actually they're doing the work for me to create this content, all this extra content, by repurposing it. So these videos are, I'll need an intro and a bumper, which I'll just have to record once to let the viewer know what I'm going to be talking about, and then what call of action I want them to take at the end. For example, on these clips, my call to action could be subscribe to my YouTube channel, or download my free report, things like that. You always want to have a call to action in the video clips. Now, remember we had the videographer in number 2, he created the video podcast from the video. So he's actually just going to strip away the audio and he's going to turn that into an audio podcast. So that's a different medium altogether. So by pulling the audio out of the video, now he's got his another medium that is being used and being distributed out there. Now the fifth thing is this transcribed document can be turned into a blog article that has embedded calls to action within the article itself. So finding a good outsourcer who understands blog writing and copywriting for the sole purpose to bring someone to take action. You know, it's a little bit tougher to find those people than just finding a transcriptionist, but they are out there. So finding somebody that can write, take the transcription, write a blog article in a copywriting format that's going to drive the reader to take some sort of action by having embedded actions, by clicking on a segment of words where they can download things like that. So when you find that good outsourcer that can actually do that, be willing to pay them and keep them, because you don't want to let them go, because they're not that easy to find, but you can find them. It just takes a little bit of trial and error. So number 6, for every blog, video, podcast, audio podcast, video clip, etc., you want to have a series of social media messages, tweets, posts created that drive people to want to view, listen, or read what it is you're talking about. Now this is generally going to be done by the outsourcer, again, who's doing the writing. So the person that's writing your blog will actually tie in to the blog, to the video, to the podcast, tweets, posts, things like that are actually going to drive people to those blogs or to the videos or to the podcasts. So having your writer create those is important. Number 7, you want to get yourself a good graphic design outsourcer as well, one who can create the images for your podcast, blog posts, social posts, and be used in your videos, things like that. So having an outsourcer that you can go to on a regular basis for creating your graphics is all part of the program. You also want to have number 8, you want to have a writer to create notes for the videos. Typically it's the same writer. I have the one writer that, she sort of writes the blogs and she sort of writes all of the stuff. So you can find one good writer, you want your writing to be consistent. You want it to sound like you, so you give them samples so they can write similar to how you write. So it's kind of like your voice. So having the notes created for your videos and placed on your website that's optimized for keywords and speak to your ideal target market, as well as notes that accompany the videos excuse me, on YouTube. They'll do the same thing. So you want to have 2 different notes you want the notes to be different, so the internet doesn't think that you're just sending out the same content over and over to many sites. And 9th is you want the writer to take the content from all the transcriptions from all of the videos that you do. So if you're doing 1 hour a week for 15 weeks and you've planned out the videos and you've planned it all out with regards to frequently asked questions, should ask questions, the benefits, all the things that I talked about in one of the previous components, then what you can do is you can put together the transcriptions from a lot of those videos and actually piece together a book. So your writer that you have, your outsourced writer, can take the transcriptions and then they can put it together in a book format. And then that book, you send it, they'll send it to an editor to get sort of massaged and fixed up in grammar, punctuation, and really turn it into a really great book, and it's a book that will actually lead your ideal target market or your prospect to the conclusion they need to work with you, because you've actually planned out all of your content in that manner. So and then you just it's all set to go and you send it up to Amazon and you publish your book. So that's the 9 different ways of repurposing your content. So you can see there's a lot of work that goes into repurposing that one video that you filmed. So you spent that 1 hour to create that video. So you're going to want to have some outsourcers lined up in place so that all you do is that 1 hour of video, and then the outsourcers take that and then they do all of this other stuff. They do all these tasks, freeing you up for engaging with your ideal target market or prospecting or talking about the content that's being distributed out there in the various different platforms, which we're going to talk about. So having a system in place so that all you need to do is to create that 1 hour of video a week. So the rest of the things are all looked after is very key to not only your success, but your sanity as well. So